we want to come under Appearance and then Menus. And menus is basically navigation. So a menu in like if when you're coding in HTML and CSS, you make lists. You know, like unordered lists, ordered lists. Um, I kind of see a menu as a list, and you always make navigation a list, so it makes sense. Um, okay, and we'll see here that this is the page that we can edit our menus, and I already have a few set up here. Um, so footer past years, this is a list for down here, and I'm actually going to have to add more pages to this. So what I would do here is put a URL to make a new link. I could make a URL, so let's say it's davidodin.com/WordPress/archive 2007, and I can label this CFW or CVWF 2007, and then add to menu. This will actually bring this in here, and so if I save this menu, it directly updates on my site. So when I come down here, there's 2007 right there. And so these lists, or these menus, are basically navigation lists. And so I'm actually going to make another one. And I think it only goes back to 2006. And it's that easy. And so let's say that 2006 was put before 2007. You can actually just drag these around to alter their order. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this for now, and I'll show you how to make drop-down navigation through menus. Okay. So layout, I've called layout what my navigation is called layout. That's just what I've named it. I'm actually going to call it main nav for now, and save that. And so we're actually, this is a good example. This wineries is actually in the wrong spot. It should be under affiliates, and actually under sponsors, because he just told us that he wants sponsors to take precedence over the wineries. And he actually said that he doesn't want a vendor's page, so we can go ahead and remove that. And he also said that he wants a primary tickets link, and that the about should go under info. And so right then and there we just altered our navigation. And so if we come back here before we save it, we'll see that it's set up a little differently. And so now when I save it and come back over here, reload the page, home doesn't have a drop down, affiliates has sponsors and wines or wineries, info has about directions, tickets has its own primary link, and contact has its own primary link, just as we see here. So each one that's nested in means that it's a drop down. And so I've also set up one for footer sitemap. So down here I've set up a menu for that, and I set up a menu for that. And so we can actually bring in different pages from this pages list. So I can actually bring in that example page 1 over into our footer sitemap. So you see it's now in here under tickets. If I save this, reload the page, right under tickets, under sitemap, there should be an additional link called example page 1. And there it is. And then when we click on it, it should have the content that we placed in there. There it is. And so we don't need this, so we're just going to remove it. In fact, we don't need it at all. Whoops. Let me save this before I leave this page. So we don't need that page, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it and just trash it. Okay, and now to continue, since we started talking about the actual footer stuff down here, I'll go over how to actually make this footer. And most of these things that I'm going over right now will be relayed to any theme, but later we'll go over the actual theme options. And the theme that I'm using is called Boldy.